Mysterious morning prayer revealed to transform your relationship with God today. Few knew what truly happened that night in the heart of Gethsemane. It was a night thick with tension. The moon hung low, casting an eerie glow over the olive trees, their twisted branches seemingly reaching for the heavens. Jesus, the man revered and feared, stood apart, the weight of the world on his shoulders. Deep anguish etched across his face. He fell to his knees, palms pressed against the cold, hard earth. The air was electric, crackling with unspoken fear and hope. His friends slept nearby, oblivious to the monumental struggle unfolding just steps away. How could they rest? How could they not feel the ache in their hearts? An unseen battle raged. Shadows danced around him, whispering doubts like ghosts. Was this truly the path? They seemed to murmur. The distant sound of rustling leaves punctuated the stillness, the only witnesses to his desperate plea. To the average eye, it was just another night, but those who peered deeper would see the mysteries wrapped in the dark. Bread turned to flesh, water transformed into wine, miracles offered by a man destined for something greater. But this moment was different. The very fabric of destiny hung in the air. Would he lean into it? Reverberations of a choice that could alter the world echoed around him. The scars of doubt clutched at his heart. He stood at a crossroads, and with each heavy sigh, the garden seemed to hold its breath. What incredible revelation lay hidden in his prayer? What unspeakable truth was he grappling with? The tension rose, thickening like fog around him. A soft rustle behind him snapped his focus. Were his disciples waking, or had the shadows formed a more sinister presence? His heart raced. As he lifted his gaze, did he glimpse a glimmer of light dancing in the distance? It pulsed with promise, shimmering like a beacon of guidance for the lost. The question lingered. Would he embrace the mystery or shrink back into uncertainty? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you are there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The air shifted once more as the whispering shadows receded, revealing the solemn figure of Jesus, still kneeling on the uneven ground. He could feel the cool earth beneath him grounding him to this moment. Yet his spirit soared toward an unseen horizon. The distant light persisted, beckoning him forward, an invitation layered in the fabric of reality itself. He inhaled deeply, feeling the weight of despair transform into a flickering flame of determination burning within. "Father," he breathed, his voice laced with a raw vulnerability. "Is this the cup I must drink?" The question hung in the air like a prayer, a haunting echo of an ancient promise, as if the patriarchs of old were weighing in. Would he answer the call that tugged at his very essence? Around him, the garden seemed to pulse in resonance with his turmoil. The olive trees, steeped in tradition and sacrifice, stood as witnesses, their gnarled roots testament to generations longing for deliverance. The night sky, knitted with jewels of starlight, held secrets from ages past, mysteries waiting to be unveiled. Did not these celestial bodies also tremble in anticipation? Did they not yearn for the resolution of a promise long foretold? In that moment, as he swayed on the precipice of despair, a rustling movement caught his attention again. It was subtle, a mere shifting of the leaves, but it reminded him of the stories of old, the voices of creation woven into the fabric of existence. He peered into the shadows, wondering if the faithful spirits of Abraham or Moses lingered nearby, offering strength in his darkest hour. Did they grasp what was unfolding, or were they ensnared in their own ethereal plight? As he wrestled with his call, the disciples lay unknowing, their breaths deep and even oblivious to the divine drama playing out just a few paces away. The burden he carried was not merely his alone. It was the weight of mankind's hopes and fears, their sins, their joys, the entirety of their existence poised at his fingertips. Yet, they slept on, blissfully unaware of the promise and peril cradled within his prayer. He closed his eyes, surrendering to the rhythm of the night. In the solitude of Gethsemane, that secret garden of potential and pain, he dared to lustento lean into the overwhelming silence. It was there that a whisper of clarity brushed against his soul, urging him to step boldly into the unknown future, where love and sacrifice lay intertwined. "Not my will, but yours," he whispered, feeling the words ignite with purpose. But as he uttered them, another disquiet flickered just beneath the surface. Was love enough to bear the crushing weight of humanity's transgressions? Would the cup not taste bitter, spiced with grief and loss? Resolute yet trembling, he looked back to the distant light. It flickered, wavering as if responding to his internal struggle. What awaited him on this path, marked with both joy and sorrow? And what of the disciples would they wake in time to bear witness to what was about to unfold? In that heart-stirring moment of vulnerability, a profound mystery lingered. How does one embrace a destiny that intertwines love with suffering? And as the dawn approached, what new revelations would emerge from the struggle on this fateful night? As the night air thickened with unease, a stillness enveloped the garden, broken only by the soft rustle of leaves. The stars bore witness, twinkling with a light that seemed to pulse with the very breath of creation. In this charged atmosphere, a profound tension unfolded, and the burden on Jesus deepened. He could feel the weight of history pressing against him, every prayer uttered, every tear shed, every broken promise echoing through time, in that sacred space, where the earthly and the divine converged. Jesus opened his heart further, exploring the depths of his own spirit. Memories flashed like lightning. The joyous laughter shared with children, the warmth of a tax collector's embrace, the sorrowful faces of the afflicted who had gathered to hear his words of hope. Each encounter served as a thread, weaving a tapestry of humanity's longing for redemption. Yet, within the solace of those memories, the ache of impending betrayal began to crystallize. He turned to look back at his disciples, slumbering not far from him, unaware of the unfolding spiritual tempest. Were they not supposed to share in his watchfulness? Had he not taught them the importance of being prepared, of understanding times? In their dreams, were they grappling with their fears of the approaching storm, or were they merely adrift in a world untouched by the clouds of destiny gathering ominously above, torn between tranquil memories of joy and the haunting specter of betrayal? Jesus returned to his conversation with the Father. "If it is possible," he murmured, his voice thick with emotion, "let this cup pass from me." A momentary silence enveloped him, and he felt as though every breath he took reached toward the heavens, probing the depths of divine will. Yet even as he faced this soul-stirring plea, he understood that his heart had turned toward the purpose of it all, the ultimate expression of love. And in this sacred realm of contemplation, an unexpected thought surfaced like a solitary flower pushing through barren soil. What of forgiveness? Could it transcend the anguish of pain? Would the very essence of love, stripped down to its rawest form, possess the strength to bridge the chasm of the betrayal he would soon endure? He felt the weight of every possible sin he would bear. Yet with each inhale, the flame of compassion flickered brighter, promising healing over hurt. As dawn began to cast its gentle light upon the horizon, something deep within him whispered of impending transformation. The playful shadows of the night, once ominous, now seemed to retreat with the promise of a new day, unveiling a truth that lay hidden beneath layers of grief and doubt. Was this the mystery of life, eternally intertwined with death, a dance, where each step carried the potential for rebirth? Suddenly, from amidst the trees, a sound pierced through the early morning stillness, a rustling of feet mixed with hushed voices. The disciples stirred, roused from their slumber, their eyes blinking against the lightning sky. Jesus' heart quickened as anticipation mingled with dread. The moment he had been preparing for was nearing. Could this awakening of the disciples signify more than just their physical rebirth into the day's light? Was there an essence of readiness within them, however faint, that might allow them to grasp the mystery of what was about to unfold? Could their understanding evolve through witnessing his sacrifice, igniting in them a spark to carry forward the very message of hope he had imparted? He held his breath, pondering how the tension between light and dark had not yet resolved, leaving a lingering question about their shared journey. How would their understanding of love deepen in the face of sacrifice? And would they truly recognize the profound purpose hidden in the shadows of impending sorrow? As they stirred into consciousness, the dawn began to whisper secrets of a new beginning, saying, this was not just the end, but a transformation waiting to take flight. As the first rays of dawn bathed the garden in a soft, golden hue, Jesus felt an electrifying shift in the atmosphere. The tension that had wrapped around him like a shroud began to thrum with a different kind of energy, the kind that heralds a significant change. He gazed at his disciples, their faces now slowly emerging from the drowsiness of sleep, and was drawn into their vulnerability. In that moment, he saw not just men caught in uncertainty, but the potential for transformation that dwelled within each of them. What would it take for them to rise from their dreams and grasp the weight of what lay ahead? Jesus held on to the notion that every man carries the essence of both fear and bravery, and amidst the coming storm, he yearned for them to discover the courage stirring deep within. In their quiet hearts, were they beginning to piece together the lessons he had imparted, those whispered truths about love being fortified in suffering, and the beauty that could emerge from brokenness? As the disciples rubbed their eyes and blinked in the soft morning light, Jesus felt a deep sense of urgency wash over him. This was not merely a moment to reflect upon their own weaknesses, but a sacred invitation to become witnesses to the profound truth that awaited them. He recalled the words he had spoken before, how he came not only to fulfill prophecy, but to unveil a love that endlessly perseveres through pain, a love which, if grasped, could transform their despair into hope. Turning from his contemplative thoughts, he approached his disciples, gathering them close. Their faces were still etched with traces of sleep, but curiosity stirred in their eyes. How did one awaken from a dream without fully understanding its significance? Jesus felt a flicker of sorrow as he realized he would soon be accompanied by the anguish of their confusion. The path before them was not an easy one, and while he had prepared them in many ways, there remained an urgency for deeper understanding. They needed a revelation that would transcend the limitations of their immediate fears. Awake. He gently called out, his voice a blend of authority and tenderness. Let us seek the Father together. In this hour, we must position our hearts to embrace what is yet to come. Let us pray for guidance and strength, for today marks the beginning of something that will echo through eternity. As they gathered around him, the disciples exchanged glances filled with uncertainty. Yet, in that space of vulnerability, something began to stir a collective yearning to know, to comprehend, and perhaps to follow the path laid out before them. Each heart bore the weight of possibility, standing on the precipice of a greater understanding of love itself. He led them in prayer, his words weaving through the air like a gentle breeze, stirring their spirits. Father, in this moment of longing, grant us wisdom to interpret the truths hidden within. Open our hearts to receive what we cannot yet fully comprehend. Transform our fears into faith, our doubts into conviction, so that we may carry forth the message of hope amidst despair. What was it that they would soon discover through this journey? How could such an impassioned plea bind their souls together in unity, even when faced with doubt and betrayal? As they prayed, each man felt a transformation stir within. Even if they could not fully articulate as Jesus completed the prayer, he could feel the heaviness lingering like a cloud overhead, but also a trembling undercurrent of peace waiting to seep through. In that space, The richness of lives waiting to be changed hung delicately between them. How would they come to embody the love that would soon be tested by sorrow? Would they recognize the divine thread uniting their stories with the story of all humanity? And as the sun continued to rise, casting a warm glow across the garden, the question hung in the balance. Were they ready to step into the unknown, bearing witness to a love that transcends all understanding, ready to transform not only their own lives, but the lives of countless others through the faithful sacrifice that was to come? As the prayer echoed into the stillness of the early morning, a profound silence embraced them. The weight of the world, the fears, the betrayals, the impending trials loomed large. Yet amidst it all, an atmosphere of anticipation began to cultivate around Jesus and his disciples. Each heart began to beat, not just in unison, but in a rhythm of hope and trepidation. Mirroring the life that thrummed in the garden, it was in this sacred space that a shimmering light caught Jesus' eye, as if the sun itself had flickered in response to the fervent prayers of the men gathered at his feet. He felt a stirring, a beckoning call to draw them deeper into understanding. "What do you see?" he asked gently, his gaze sweeping over the group, searching for clarity within their muddled expressions. The disciples exchanged glances, uncertainty still painted across their faces. Peter, ever the eager one, spoke up. "Lord, we see the light, the beauty of this morning, but in our hearts there's a storm brewing. We sense that something is coming that will eclipse this peace." Wisdom glimmering in Jesus' eyes, he nodded. "Indeed, Peter, you speak truthfully, but let us not fear the light eclipsed by shadows. Rather, we must embrace both, for they are part of the story unfolding. Consider the moments of your own lives, the joy intermingled with pain. What if each shadow brings forth the dawn of deeper revelation about our purpose?" The disciples listened intently, and as he spoke, Jesus revealed facets of a yoke they would soon bear. The mingling of sorrow and glory was not merely a concept to be grasped, but a reality to be lived. Today, he continued, I invite you to understand that love often reveals itself in the struggle, and through the veil of suffering, God's grace shines brighter. Jesus recalled the parable of the hidden treasure buried in the field. What man, upon discovering that treasure, would not sell all he owns to obtain it? In the same way, my friends, the love of the Father is a treasure worth every trial we may face. You must see each challenge as an invitation to experience a love deeper than your understanding. Matthew, reflecting on these words, spoke up hesitantly. But Lord, if the path ahead holds such pain, how can we bear witness and still find joy? How can we celebrate when we know what lies before us? A serene smile crept onto Jesus' face, and in that moment he saw their grappling hearts laid bare before him. But therein lies the mystery, my dear Matthew. True joy is born from understanding the depth of our love for one another and for God. It is not the absence of pain, but the recognition of God's presence within that pain that illuminates joy. As the sun climbed higher, casting warmth across their skin, a gentle breeze rustled the leaves around them. Jesus felt a potent realization wash over him as he encouraged the disciples to open their hearts wider. The very love in you, the love you extend to one another, becomes your shield and your strength. When the hours grow dark, remember that greater is he who is in you than anything the world can throw at you. Let love be your anchor, regardless of the storm. Their environment began to echo the sincerity of his words. The garden, once filled with calming stillness, now pulsed with an energy only wise hearts could sense. Each disciple felt the fingers of insight gripping their consciousness, awakening a deeper understanding of the road, a road laden not just with hardship, but also with the promise of divine purpose. Yet as he turned to pray again, an unsettling question lingered in the air, punctuated by the rustle of the wind. Would they trust in the love they were called to embrace, even when faced with the unbearable weight of betrayal and loss? How would they navigate the journey when confronted with the profound reality of their vulnerability? In seeking to understand love in the midst of pain, were they ready to uncover the depth of their faith and let it guide them through the challenges yet to come? As the warmth of the sun continued to envelop the garden, the tension among the disciples remained palpable. They were drawn into profound contemplation, the weight of Jesus' words settling heavily upon their hearts. In that peculiar stillness, an unseen force stirred the atmosphere, inviting introspection and awakening a sense of urgency. Jesus, sensing their collective turmoil, gathered them close once more, his voice a melodic whisper amidst the rusting leaves. "Listen to the truth buried deep within you," he urged. "In the silence of suffering, I tell you, the soul's voice often grows louder. You may not grasp the fullness of what lies ahead, but you are called to walk in faith." John, always contemplative, spoke quietly, "Master, what does it mean to walk in faith when shadows loom so large? How can we, frail as we are, be conduits of love amidst darkness?" "Ah, dear John," Jesus replied, "faith is the trust you place in that which you do not yet see. It is the assurance that God's love permeates all existence, even in moments clouded by uncertainty. You are not alone in this journey. Your hearts shall beat in tandem with mine, and together we shall transcend what seems insurmountable." With these words, a breeze gusted through the garden, as if nature herself exhaled in agreement. Leaves danced above them, and for a moment, the disciples felt the gravity of the world lift, replaced by something lighter, a flicker of divine hope igniting within. Yet even as they began to breathe more freely, Judas, caught in his own web of turmoil, struggled to reconcile his thoughts. The darkness he felt within seemed at odds with the profound revelations unfolding around him. "But what my choice is, my doubts?" Judas asked, his voice trembling, fear woven tightly into his words. "Can love truly bridge the chasms created by our decisions?" "Ah, beloved Judas," Jesus said, turning his attention toward him, "the love of God knows no bounds. It embraces your struggle and your choices, revealing the path back to peace, should you seek it. Your journey is not solitary. Even in your brokenness, you can reflect the light you so desperately seek. If prompted by their master's words, the heavens shifted, casting shadows that shifted across their faces. The disciples felt a stirring question complicating the atmosphere. Would they dare to trust in a love that could embrace their failings, to recognize that their vulnerabilities could become the very birthplace of hope? Silence reigned once more, brewing tension alongside the dawning realization that each was grappling with their interior battles. Thomas, ever the skeptic, raised his head, his brow furrowed with doubt. And what if we falter? What if when the moment of truth arrives, we fail to stand strong? How can we hold on to this faith when uncertainty knocks at our doors? "Ah, Thomas," Jesus spoke gently, "your fears reveal the fragility of the human heart. Yet in that fragility lies the gateway to incredible strength. It is not about the absence of fear, but rather how you face it. You are not less worthy of love in your weakness. It is precisely there that you may find the grace to grow, the fragrance of blooming flowers wafted around them, filling the air with sweetness and life." Yet amidst the beauty, a sobering reality lingered. The deep struggle within each heart might lead to betrayal, doubt, and heartache. As Jesus closed his eyes in prayer, he knew the divine tapestry was weaving together moments that would change everything. As they stood surrounded by the burgeoning life of the garden and the dawning light, each disciple felt a tension within an unresolved battle was unfolding, waiting to be confronted in their minds and hearts. Could they embrace the love offered to them, acknowledging their frailties while also stepping into the profound call to love even in the face of impending loss? What lay ahead remained uncertain, but in the presence of Jesus, they found room for reflection. Could they transform their struggles into stepping stones, or would they become barriers to the faith they were being invited to live? The sun began its ascension in the morning sky, casting a golden hue across the garden. illuminating the disguised vulnerabilities of each disciple. Where quiet doubt and troubled minds had reigned, hope emerged like the gentle light of dawn, pushing back the shadows that had clung steadfastly to their hearts. Yet, within that awakening warmth, an undercurrent of uncertainty persisted. As the disciples gathered in anticipation of Jesus' next words, a deepening stillness enveloped them. They felt the rustling leaves again, echoing nature's palpable agreement to the sacred turmoil unfolding among them. In that sacred silence, Andrew broke away from the group slightly, kneeling to pray, seeking solace amidst the chaos within. His whispered words became a thread weaving through the air, carrying both his personal yearning and the collective heart of the others. Lord, guide us through our trials and awaken within us the courage to carry your love into the world. Fill our hearts, that even in fear, we may become vessels of peace. Jesus, observing Andrew's earnest supplication, approached him, kneeling beside him with the wisdom of a teacher and the compassion of a lover. "And what you hear, dear Andrew?" he asked kindly, knowing each disciple bore their own unique burden. Andrew's eyes raised, glistening with tears. "I seek peace, Master, but struggle with the weight of my own doubts." Each prayer seems to fade into the silence, unanswered at child of my heart. Jesus reassured him, "In silence I often speak the loudest." Your prayers are not lost. They are seeds planted in the soil of faith. Even the tiniest seed can break through the hardest ground and yield a harvest beyond measure. The key is not to seek immediate answers, but to open your heart to the unfolding of my divine plan. Then, taking a step back, Jesus turned to the broader assembly of disciples. As we ponder the significance of prayer, let us consider the nature of our relationship with our Father. It is often birthed from the recognition of our own limitations. You see, the essence of prayer is not merely to unburden yourselves, but to engage with the source of all love and wisdom, to invite the divine into the very crevices of your life. Peter, emboldened by those words, felt a stirring surge within him. "But what if the answer is silence, Lord?" he asked, probing deeper. "What if we confront unanswered prayers amid moments of dire need?" Jesus smiled warmly, nodding at Peter's concerns. "Silence can be a teacher, for in it, the heart often finds clarity. Trust that even in the midst of confusion, you are being shaped and molded. Look not for the grand signs, but for the gentle nudges of my Spirit guiding you. It is in these small movements that your relationship with God will deepen." Matthew, always one to record thoughts, scribbled quietly. Yet he couldn't contain himself any longer. "Master, will these teachings endure beyond this day? How can we ensure that we carry forth your love even when you're no longer with us?" Jesus' gaze swept over each disciple, full of love and a touch of sorrow. "The truth I share with you transcends time and place. It shall become the very breath of your existence if you choose to embrace it. You will carry my words like light in the darkness, whether through acts of service, compassion, or the sharing of love. Each act, no matter how small, becomes an echo of the kingdom of God, revealing to others the hope they too may find." As the sun continued to rise, bathing the garden in rich warmth, the disciples felt the weight of a new understanding settle in their hearts. As they absorbed the implications of Jesus' words, questions began to swirl anew. Would they commit to nurturing their prayer life, recognizing that sometimes silence speaks louder than answers? Could they truly carry forward the love they had been gifted, even in the face of overwhelming uncertainty? Amidst this dawn of contemplation, they stood at the precipice of transformation, each wrestling with their roles in the narrative yet unfurling before them. What if the answers they sought were already growing silently within the seeds Jesus had sown? As the sun continued to rise, painting the sky with hues of orange and gold, a soft breeze danced through the garden, carrying the fragrant scent of blooming flowers. The disciples were still mingling in the palpable silence, their hearts heavy yet hopeful. While they shared their inner fears and aspirations, another mystery lingered in the air, a sensation that something more profound was at play. Judas, leaning against an olive tree, appeared distant, lost in thought. Then, with a resolve that seemed to emerge from the depths of his wrestling spirit, he called out, "Master, while you speak of love and light, what if there are shadows that must be faced? Shouldn't we also seek justice for the wrongs we endure?" The question hung in the air, a ripple of tension as the other disciples turned towards Judas. Jesus, sensing the heat of the inquiry, responded with a calm that belied the stirrings of discord. "Indeed, my friend, justice is a sacred aspect of creation, but remember, it must be intertwined with compassion. To seek justice outside of love is to risk becoming a weapon of division rather than a vessel of healing. But how do we navigate this path?" added James, his brow furrowed, hoping for more clarity. "With the Roman authorities pressing upon us, and our people in despair, what does it mean to embody your teachings? What is the cost of following you, Lord?" echoed Thomas, contemplating the uncertainty that loomed before them. Must we, too, embrace the paradox of both justice and peace? Gathering their questions, Jesus spread his arms wide, inviting them into a deeper understanding. The cost is not merely a sacrifice of your time or comfort. It is an offering of your very heart. In seeking peace, you may find yourself standing against the very systems that perpetuate injustice. But in those moments, remember, the strength you display is not from your own will, but from love itself. It is the love that inspires courage in the face of adversity. Your actions must speak louder than your words. A dance of both presence and purpose. The disciples exchanged glances, recognizing the burden of responsibility they carried. Each heart felt the gravity of their collective mission, yet uncertainty ebbed and flowed like the tide within each individual. As Jesus continued to teach, he shared parable tales of farmers, lost coins, and prodigal sons layered with new meaning. You see, each story reveals a facet of God's heart. In the farmer's toil, there is hope in the harvest. In the lost coin, there is relentless pursuit. And when the son returns, we see not only forgiveness, but the joy of restoration. Your experiences in this world reflect the eternal narrative of a creator who seeks after the wayward and redeems the wronged. Though the sun climbed higher, shadows of doubt still danced among the petals and branches. Each disciple wrestled with these truths in their own soul. Peter, his brow furrowing, whispered, "But how do we know what we are truly meant to do? What if we misstep?" "Fear not the missteps," Jesus reassured them gently. "For growth is born from failures as much as victories. Understand this. It is often in the willingness to be vulnerable that the deepest connections are formed both with one another and with God. Your journey is not solely about destination, but about the footsteps along the way. As the day grew brighter, a sense of wonder filled the disciples. In that moment, they recognized a choice before them, one that required courage, humility, and a willingness to explore the depths of their faith. The mysteries Jesus shared spoke to the wholeness of existence and the complexities of the human heart, still unresolved in their yearning for clarity. Would they be willing to embrace the blend of justice and mercy, forging a path that reflected the heart of Christ, even amid tumultuous times? What if their most profound understanding of love was yet to be forged in the fires of uncertainty? The morning light illuminated their journey, yet the answers remained shrouded in layers yet to be uncovered. As the warmth of the sun spread across the garden, the disciples lingered in contemplation, their hearts swelling with the tension of newfound resolve. Each one grappled quietly with the weight of their thoughts, hearing not only Jesus' words, but also the unspoken hopes that thrummed in the air around them. "Master," Matthew finally ventured, breaking the contemplative silence that had settled over the group, "is it enough simply to have faith in the heart and the mind? Do our actions not require a greater affirmation than mere belief?" His words echoed the quiet concerns lurking within them all, tapping into the deep reservoir of uncertainty surrounding their mission. Jesus looked upon Matthew, a gentle understanding shining in his eyes. "Ah, Beloved disciple, faith is the seed planted in the soul. It requires nurturing through deeds born of that faith. Just as the fruit cannot flourish without the roots, so too does faith call forth the action that brings life forth from the soil of our hearts. Consider the harvest of righteousness. It is tended both in prayer and in love. Bartholomew, leaning thoughtfully against the gnarled trunk of an olive tree, raised another concern. But how do we convey this truth to those who do not know? The very ones we seek to serve may harbor resentment, or worse, disbelief. A light cannot be hidden beneath a basket. Neither should your actions be veiled in fear. Jesus responded, his voice steady and inviting. Let your love reflect into the world, illuminating the shadows of doubt and despair. It is in the embrace of compassion that the walls of disbelief begin to crumble. This revelation sparked within them an ember of hope yet again, but also deepened the mystery shrouding their journey. Peter, his eyes narrowed thoughtfully, murmured, "But what of those who have hardened their hearts? Can love truly transcend such barriers?" "Indeed, it can, but not through force, nor through judgment," Jesus replied. "It is through the quiet persistence of kindness that barriers are softened. It is the gentle reminder of grace that uncovers the possibility of redemption. To be transformed yourself is to invite transformation in others. That this. Judas shifted uneasily, his brow furrowed. He wondered aloud, "And what about those who oppose what we stand for? Should we not also prepare ourselves for the fight?" "The fight you speak of is not one that wields swords or shouts outrage," Jesus answered firmly, his gaze piercing through the veil of apprehension. "Your battle is a spiritual one, grounded in the realms of love and truth. Even when you feel pushed into a corner, remember asserting oneself in love will create ripples that can touch even the hardest of hearts." The wind picked up briefly, rustling the leaves above them, as the disciples pondered the weight of each of Jesus' words. A serene yet poignant presence settled over them, echoing the mysteries they still yearned to unveil. "Master," Thomas pondered aloud, "your words stir great conviction in my heart. But how will we know when we have truly acted in love as you ask? When is faith in action deemed worthy?" Jesus paused, absorbing the weight of Thomas' inquiry. The recognition of such moments may not come in the clamor of accolades or worldly success. Often, you will find that the most profound impact comes in the simplest of gestures, those moments of honesty, the courage to listen, the humility to serve. As the morning continued to unfold, the disciples felt the tension slowly lift, replaced with the fragrance of hope that lingered above the fragrant blooms. Still, a lingering question remained. How could they merge their faith and actions without losing sight of the true essence of love? And would they have the courage required to face their fears? Their souls brimmed with longing for more than mere answers and understanding that transcended knowledge. What awaited them on this path of justice intertwined with mercy? Would the fullness of their faith emerge in the very act of stepping into uncertainty, guided by a light beyond their comprehension? In the heart of Gethsemane, where earthly struggles entwined with divine destiny, dawn had finally embraced the night. The garden that once morphed shadows into whispers of doubt now basked in majestic sunshine, illuminating the truths etched within hearts heavy with unresolved tension. As the warmth settled over the group, Jesus led his disciples deeper into the unfolding of a profound revelation. "Beloved friends," he began, his voice resonant and steady, "this moment is not merely a threshold into uncertainty. It is the dawn of transformation." He gestured toward the sun rising higher, casting golden rays that danced playfully among the olive branches. What was once cloaked in the mysteries of the night now reveals the beauty of the light. Each of you carries within you the potential to illuminate the darkness of the world. The air thickened with expectancy, and a spark flickered within the hearts of those gathered. They exchanged glances, wrestling with doubt, but longing for understanding. Jesus continued, "As you embark on this journey ahead, remember that the essence of your mission rests within the love you are called to embody." His gaze swept over each disciple, peering into the depths of their souls. Today, you are not merely witnesses to the events that are unfolding, but participants in a love that transcends every pain, betrayal, and sorrow. His words hung in the air, each syllable imbued with purpose. You will encounter suffering, yes, but do not forget, love born from sacrifice creates a path to redemption, a bridge that spans even the chasms of despair. Peter, emboldened by the truth stirring within him, stood up, facing Jesus. "But Lord, how will we endure the weight of our fears, your impending trial? What if we falter, or if doubt consumes us? Can love truly sustain us when the world seeks to tear at our spirits?" "Ah, Peter," Jesus replied, his tone a blend of compassion and strength. "It is within the cracks of your vulnerabilities that my light will shine the brightest. Embrace the questions. Let them propel you to deeper faith, and trust that love woven through every thread of uncertainty reacts not with despair, but with profound hope." A holy silence fell upon the gathering, and Judas shifted uneasily, wrestling against the shadows lurking within his heart. "You speak of love, Master, but the path ahead feels laden with betrayal and darkness. Can a heart like mine, marked by conflict, find its way back to the essence of this love? Love embraces all, even those struggling and ensnared," Jesus assured, his voice steady, reverberating with the promise of grace. "Judas, remember the depth of compassion that envelopes us all. In seeking the light, you must also confront the shadows within. Hope blooms from the willingness to embrace your failings, and in that vulnerability, healing can commence." The weight of his words sunk deep into their spirits one by one. They began to realize the journey would demand much, yet also grant the most intimate revelation of faith. As the sun climbed higher, bursting through the horizon, a remarkable clarity washed over the group. Today marks the beginning not of an ending, but of an unending journey, a life into which you will pour out love as freely as waters from a living spring, Jesus proclaimed. Every act poured forth in faith, every ray of compassion shared, will echo through eternity. Together, you will witness the power of love to transform even the most broken of hearts. John, who often reflected on deeper meanings, felt a stirring of revelation in him as he spoke. "Master, if love transcends all, what would you have us carry forth into the world?" Jesus smiled at him, and his eyes shone with a heavenly light. "Go forth as messengers of a love both fierce and gentle, transforming hearts by embodying the very grace and mercy you receive. Even in your trials, remember, let your lives reflect my light, for it is in that reflection you bring hope to the hopeless." His words stirred faith like the gentle rustle of leaves stirred by the wind. The disciples were no longer burdened by their fears. Instead, they opened their hearts to the possibility of every breath igniting purpose, every step carrying significance. The air became charged with a palpable excitement, a collective awakening to their unique roles in the expansive narrative that continued to unfold through love. "Indeed, the journey will be fraught with challenge," Jesus continued, "but take heart, for the same love that holds the universe together will dwell in you. In every moment of uncertainty, call upon that love. Let it guide your hearts and hands. Your faith must act as wings that soar beyond the boundaries of doubt." As he finished speaking, the disciples, once gripped by fear and uncertainty, now felt a new intensity within them, a burning desire to step into the unfolding narrative, illuminated by the promise of love that embraced both shadow and light. And as the sun broke fully over the horizon, casting brilliant rays upon the land, Jesus grasped their shoulders, pouring forth a final blessing. "Go forth in peace, beloved friends. You are not alone. The love you carry will guide you. The world awaits the transformation that your heart can bring." With that, the garden, now awash in the glory of a new day, witnessed a group of men transformed not merely by words, but by the profound revelation of love that bound them together. The journey lay ahead, fraught with shadows, yet illuminated by the light of hope. In unity, They took their first steps into an unknown world, their hearts steadfastly beating with a singular truth. Love, in its truest form, hath the power to heal, redeem, and restore all that was once lost. As they ventured forth, the echoes of their footsteps whispered a timeless truth back to the heavens, reminding all that no matter the trial, the heart of love shall always, always endure.